You've seen the title of today's video. Today I'm going to be coloring pages that I downloaded and printed completely for free. Something you may or may not know is that a lot of coloring book illustrators actually offer quite a few free samples of their work. Some artists just have 1 or 2 samples available, while others have over 50 free pages, which that just blew my mind. I do want to make one thing super clear. The purpose of this video is to not encourage people to only download free pages instead of financially supporting artists' work. The real reason I wanted to make this video is because I think free sample pages are one of the best ways to discover new coloring book artists that you love. I'm sure there's many of you out there who've bought coloring books from artists you've never tried before and then quickly realize that their illustration style isn't for you. Whereas if you sample an artist's work first, you're much more likely to build a collection of coloring books that you genuinely love and just come back to time and time again. So yeah, that's exactly what you're gonna see me do today. I've chosen 3 free coloring pages from 3 different artists whose work I've always been curious about but never actually colored before. We're going to spend some time with each of the pages, and hopefully by the end of the video I'll have found an artist style that I connect with and maybe even a new coloring book to add to my collection. Alright, let's meet our first artist and take a look at the first free coloring page. Now, I know a lot of you are going to be very happy to see me try this artist for the first time. RJ Hampson. Over my time of having this YouTube channel, I've had so many comments from people saying that I need to try RJ Hampson's work and that they'd love to see me color one of his pages. Your wishes are finally coming true. Don't get me wrong, I think he's incredibly talented and his concepts are super duper creative, but I've just never looked at one of his books and had this overwhelming urge to buy it or sit down and color it. That being said, I still have always been curious as to whether sitting down and coloring one of his illustrations would end up changing my mind. So if you're also wanting to try RJ Hampson's work for yourself, all you have to do is sign up to his free newsletter, and as a welcome gift, you'll receive a PDF containing 7 sample pages from his previous books. So these are the 7 pages that were included in the sample pack, and the one I ultimately decided to try for my first time is this page here from one of his publications titled Hide and Seek. It just felt the most me out of all of the illustrations in the sampler pack, and let's be honest, I do love myself some mushroom coloring. So my first plan of action going into this RJ Hampson illustration was starting with the leafy frame around the outside. I knew pretty much straight away that I wanted to turn it into some kind of galaxy effect because I thought it would contrast really nicely against the warm reds and oranges that I was already envisioning for the mushrooms. This coloring session here really is going to be a great example to you all as to how I'm combining alcohol markers and colored pencils at the moment. I almost always use my alcohol markers as that foundational base layer since they have such a bold, saturated payoff while also letting me cover large areas really quickly. I'm all about that time efficiency. And then I can come back in with colored pencils afterwards to deepen the shadows, smooth out any blends that aren't quite perfect, and add any further details that really make the page come to life. But yeah, I really found that by putting those blues and purples down with my markers first, the pencils I used simply had to refine everything instead of doing all of the heavy lifting. Now, I do want to apologize for how uncrisp and patchy the line work looks on these coloring pages that you're gonna be seeing throughout this video. And you may also even notice a bit of ink smudging while I'm coloring, and I promise it's not the illustrations, it's my gosh darn printer. It's technically a laser printer, so it really shouldn't be having any sort of smudging issues, but I will say in the printer's defense, I may or may not have fed paper through it that was way thicker than it was actually designed to handle, and I may have done that twice, so there's every chance this entire situation is completely my fault. But anyway, once I'd finished adding all the little starry details with my Languo gel pens, I moved on to my favorite part of this illustration, the mushrooms. I don't know what it is about mushrooms, but I genuinely find them so much fun to color. I think it's because I love creating a strong red to yellow gradient on the caps of my mushrooms and then adding lots of rounded dimension with my colored pencils afterwards. Again, I used exactly the same process here, alcohol markers first, then colored pencils over the top. Although you'll probably notice that on some of the tiny mushrooms down the bottom, I simplified things just a little bit. Those areas are so small that there really wasn't much point trying to squeeze in 4 marker colors. Instead, I just used my lightest marker, almost like a warm underpainting layer, and let the colored pencils do most of the work. Even if I am only using 1 marker as that base foundational layer, it still gives the pencils something warm to sit on top of, and I find it helps the finished colors look a little richer and more glowy than if I'd just gone straight in with pencil alone. One little decision I'm really happy with was adding this soft purple pink into the shadows of the mushroom stems. I could have just used a warm brown shadow and called it a day, but I wanted there to be a little more connection between the mushrooms and the galaxy frame surrounding them. It almost looks like the galaxy is reflecting onto the mushrooms, especially once I added a tiny bit of yellow shading on the mushroom stems as well. I feel like that little pop of yellow helps create the illusion that the stars in the galaxy are casting a subtle glow across the mushroom scene. Those little repeats of color really are one of my favorite ways to make an illustration feel more intentional as well as cohesive. So overall, while I definitely didn't dislike coloring this RJ Hampson illustration, I also don't have this overwhelming feeling that I want to go out and buy one of his books, which I feel horrible for saying. I really don't know why. His illustrations are whimsical, imaginative, and quite quirky, which are qualities that I usually am drawn towards, but I think what's missing for me personally is a little bit more femininity and cuteness. As things stand right now, I can't really see myself purchasing one of RJ Hampson's books. I mean, never say never. I've changed my mind about artists before, but at least for today, I think I've learned that while I appreciate RJ Hampson's creativity and immense talent, his illustration style just isn't the right fit for me. Let's head into coloring page number 2. Next up, we have an artist who I only discovered recently whilst scrolling on the gram, and they go by the name Hygge Artful Coloring. I believe that's how you pronounce Hygge. They create some absolutely adorable coloring pages and books, but they also share some really helpful coloring tutorials over on their Instagram, which you are going to see me try out very shortly. Now, the thing that completely flabbergasted me about this artist is that they have 50 free coloring pages to download from their website. 50, that is just... What? Needless to say, I had a very difficult time narrowing it down and deciding which page I wanted to try first. The page I ultimately chose was this mermaid illustration, and that was mainly because I really wanted to try out their mermaid tail coloring tutorial that Hygge Artful Coloring also shared on their Instagram account. Now, you're probably wondering why I've got the page upside down right now. I promise there's method to my madness. Kind of. Basically, the mermaid tail tutorial I was following from Hygge Artful's Instagram account had the tail oriented this way, and it was so much easier for my brain to follow along with the tutorial if I had the page in the same direction, rather than trying to mentally flip everything. So don't worry, I do turn the page the right way up shortly. This just made the whole process a little less confusing for myself. As for the tutorial though, I genuinely had a lot of fun following it. I thought it was such a clever way of creating a really effective, scaly mermaid tail without having to individually draw like a gazillion tiny scales. And now you may or may not remember that a little while ago, I'm pretty sure it was sometime last year, I attempted the jelly effect for the first time, and it didn't go exactly to plan. So I thought this illustration was the perfect opportunity to give it another shot, and I am so much happier with how it turned out this time. I also decided to stray a little bit from the traditional jelly effect by adding some colored pencil shading afterwards. We know me, I love to push the depth and dimension a little bit further with my pages, and I still think adding a bit of pencil shading kept the translucent jelly-like look. Now, Hygge Artful's illustration must have definitely got my creative juices flowing, because I did end up adding yet another effect to the page, a gradient water ripple background. In hindsight, I now think I realized what was missing for me when I was coloring the RJ Hampson illustration. These days, one of the things I enjoy most about coloring is having the freedom to experiment and make a page feel uniquely mine, which this illustration gave me exactly that. There was enough open space to try different techniques and add my own creative spin, but not so much space that I felt overwhelmed trying to fill it all in. It felt like a really nice balance. In total, I ended up spending nearly 3 hours coloring this page because I was genuinely having such a good time. Right at the very end, I decided to cover the black line work with gel pens and acrylic markers, since traditionally that's what's part of the jelly effect aesthetic, and it also tied in nicely with the mermaid tail tutorial I've been following. However, in saying this, I'm not completely sure this was the right decision. With the busy water background, I think some of those lighter outlines they're getting a little bit lost. I've got my fingers crossed that once I finish the rest of the page, everything will come together, but if not, I might end up bringing some of that darker line work back. So despite not being completely convinced with how the page is looking currently, I did have a really lovely experience coloring this illustration. The illustration style is just so cute, and this is subject matter that I more naturally gravitate towards when I'm choosing what to color. I wouldn't say I have that feeling of I need to go buy one of the Hygge Artful Coloring books immediately, but I do also see myself owning one of their books one day. Let's move on to the third and final artist. The final artist I decided to try in this video is called Lunaria Studio. First of all, Lunaria Studio is a Thai illustrator, which I don't know, I personally find that really cool. I've never colored an illustration from a Thai artist before, but the main thing that caught my attention was their illustration style. This was my first time seeing some coloring book illustrations that really did feel like a crossover between the simple and bold genre, as well as a little bit of manga and anime. It's probably not the best way to describe it, but hopefully you can see what I mean. So Lunaria Studio offers 1 to 2 free pages from each of their books, and after looking through them all, I decided to color this page from Elven Maidens. I was just instantly drawn to the magical fantasy vibe of this illustration, and we all know by now that I love my fantasy coloring pages. I also think this one has so many opportunities to play around with special effects and textures, which of course is what you're about to see me do. So the technique I was really excited to try on this page was the forest background effect, and I originally discovered this through an Instagram tutorial by @didine.colors. Yet again, I'll have it in the description. Now, I know that in this illustration you'd typically color this large open area as a sky, but I thought it would be really fun to completely change the context of the scene. Instead of the fairy floating through the sky, I imagine this was a tiny magical world suspended within a much larger enchanted forest. Now, I will say, right up until the very end of creating this background, I genuinely wasn't convinced it was going to work. This is one of those techniques that really forces you to trust the process, because for a long time, it honestly just looked like a bit of a mess. One thing I found that made a really big difference when I was creating this background was changing the proportions of the trees. At first, I was drawing really thin trunks with lots of branches, but yeah, it just ended up looking like a bunch of random branches rather than an actual forest. Once I started making the trunks much thicker and simplifying the branches, making them look a little bit more twiggy, the whole background became so much more effective. After that, I added some soft colored pencil streaks coming down from the floating islands to create a little bit of a waterfall effect. I really like how that turned out. And I also used colored pencils to scatter tiny, glowing, what I tried to make look like fireflies throughout the forest before going back over them with a white acrylic marker. I found that combination created a much softer glow than if I just used the acrylic marker by itself. The other element I decided to color during this session was the adorable little fairy. And from the get-go, I knew I wanted her colors to feel like they naturally belonged within this little enchanted world I was creating. So rather than introducing a completely different color palette, I decided to stick with those same teals, greens, and soft yellows that I'd already used throughout the forest scene. I think keeping to a fairly limited color palette is going to be my plan of action when I eventually finish this page. I'll probably just work with different values and saturations of the colors I've already introduced, rather than bringing in a whole bunch of new ones. And actually, now that I think about it, something that I believe I've started doing in my coloring work recently is creating a bit of a juxtaposition between the illustration itself and the color palette. If I'm coloring a really fantastical, unrealistic scene like this one, I think it's fun to lean towards a more natural, believable color palette. Whereas if I'm coloring something that's much more grounded in reality, that's when I sometimes like to have a bit more fun and push the colors into something completely unrealistic. I just find it to be a really satisfying contrast because it lets the illustration be the star of fantasy scenes, while the color palette becomes the show-stopping element in more everyday ones. But yeah, I really didn't end up doing anything too crazy in terms of textures or special effects while coloring the fairy, because I do think there's eventually going to be so much visual interest going on throughout the rest of the scene. However, one thing I do still plan on doing is covering the black line work of her wings with an acrylic marker to give them a much more translucent look. I just want to wait until I've colored the rest of the page though, so I know which color to use and can make sure it ties in nicely with everything else. Now, even though I took a little bit of a detour to Struggle Street whilst creating this forest effect, I did genuinely adore my experience coloring this page. It is a little difficult for me to pinpoint why I enjoyed coloring it so much more than the other two. Is it because I'm loving how the page is looking so far? Is it because of the different textures and techniques I experimented with? Or is it simply because this style of illustration and fantasy subject matter is what I enjoy coloring most? To be honest, it's probably a combination of all three. So yes, with all that being said, I definitely think it's pretty clear which coloring book artist left me wanting more. I can absolutely see myself ordering a copy of Elven Maidens in the near future and just supporting this artist for giving me such an awesome coloring experience with one of their pages. That brings us to the end of today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully you discovered a few new artists whose work you might be trying a page from in the future. I do have a confession to make to you all though. You might remember that in a recent video I confidently said that I never wanted to reach double digits when it came to the number of whips in my collection. Well, this video has officially pushed me into the double digits. I now have 10 works in progress. So let me know in the comments if you're happy for me to make another whip takedown video. I know my last one was only a couple of weeks ago, but your girl just needs to get some coloring pages finished. As always, if you enjoyed today's video and would like even more cozy coloring content while supporting the channel, my Patreon is always linked in the description below. And until next time, happy coloring friends. Have a good day, have a good life, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!